Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, welcome aboard. Let me tell you something. We must understand something. We are adults who cannot be deluded by wishes and hope and fantasy and love and wishing. I've got some tough advice for you this morning. You may not like it, and I don't know what to do. So if you don't, you might want to get out of here. You know how you say sometimes, like, you're talking about Tucker? I'm out of here. If you want to hear everything's great with Trump, he's got nothing to worry about, don't listen to this. Go someplace else. Go, you know what? Go watch Fox News. You can catch Fox and maybe Judge Janine or one of those. Yay, Trump, great. Yay. You could do that. Or the Mar-a-Lago crowd. You ever see these people who go to Mar-a-Lago? Maybe you don't know them. I know a bunch of them, and they're like weird. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago. You're not going to meet him. You're not going to see Trump. I don't know. I'm in Mar-a-Lago. It's weird. It's weird. Oh no! I remember hearing one time people had talked about Trump almost being coming down on this golden winged steed. You know, this like, what is this? What are you, Pegasus? What do you think this is? Oh no, he's Trump. He's great. So the question I have for you is, will he be incarcerated? And let me tell you what people say. Oh no, no. Why? Well, no, and they just do this. They say, no, he'll put this off for as long as possible, and then they'll drop everything, and then they just make this stuff up. They just make this. I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything like it. I remember one time we had a relative in the family. Pretty serious stuff. He had a brain tumor, glioblastoma. It's like the worst. It's the worst. I mean, forget pancreatic cancer. Anyway. And I remember hearing, kind of friends or relatives say, oh, no, Joe's a fighter. What? Fight what? You're going to fight this? Why do people say that? Because they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They pray, they imagine, they hope. They create this world where they can't be hurt, they can't be affected, and they can't be in any way bothered by this. They you know what I mean? They just I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you, and I don't know where this comes from. But let me explain to you one thing, and people, nobody wants to hear this. Trump's accountant, remember this poor fellow? Alan Weisselbrod, 75 years old. He did 5 years in Rikers. 5 months, Rikers. And he basically took $1.7 million in job perks. It was, well, dodging taxes and what? And what happened was he had promised the short sentence when he agreed to plead guilty to 15 tax crimes and to be a witness against the Trump Organization, where he worked since the mid-'80s. And the judge said, Judge Manuel Merchan said, after listening to Weisselbrod, he regretted that the penalty wasn't tougher. He said he was especially appalled by testimony that Weisselbrod gave his wife a $6,000 check for a no-show job so she could qualify for Social Security. This goes on all the time. Now, I'm not saying that's legal. I'm not saying that makes it right. But this guy's 75 years old. And he says, I wish I could give you more. And you think that and you think that this Judge Merchan is going to give this man's 5 months, and if he ever gets to Trump, and they're not done with him yet at all, they're going to give him nothing? They give the accountant 5 months? Now, I don't know whether you like this or not. You might think, well, we're not talking all the cases. We're not talking, years perhaps. But if you think that for some reason that there's no, I mean, people were thinking 5 months for this guy, 75, and a non-violent case with no priors, no nothing. I mean, you got, I don't know what to tell you. It's this thing that is happening, which is so strange. Why do people do this? Why do people create this thing about Trump like he's this God, this he's impervious. He doesn't he's not even he's not a mere mortal. I don't understand it. How does this work? How do people how does this work? I seriously, I do not understand it. I've never seen anything he exudes this. And I don't see the Democrats doing that with anybody. They didn't do it with Hillary. They don't do it with Biden. They didn't do it with any. They lose their minds. But when it comes to this, and maybe you could say, well, they don't have anybody like Trump. Could be. But they don't have this face, this rapture, I don't understand it. Now, we can talk about this and go, well, somebody says, it's 100% TDS. Come on. Excuse me. That's not the question. Is he going to be incarcerated? Does he face incarcerated? Yes. Will he be? You can't say for sure. But if you think that somehow, no. Because you look at him and you see him meeting the head of, the president of Argentina, Milei, who's another one too. I don't know why this World Economic Forum guy, you folks think he's more terrific than I think he is. But in any event, you've got all this stuff going on, all this insanity that is happening, all this absolute craziness that is happening before our very eye. We don't know what to make of it. We don't. I swear to you, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. And yet people have this thing where it's like, oh, no. He is so special. Look, I've been telling you, and I want him to be reelected, but I have not lost connection with reality, or I think that somehow he's impervious to this stuff. I don't know why people think this way. I don't know why. I don't know why. Seriously, I don't know what it is. I don't know where this came from. I don't understand it. No, it's true. I don't understand where this this weird, where did he come from? You remember those pictures, the memes where he's with the eagle and he's bare chest. It looks like Fabio, like from he's doing the best he can. He has virtually I don't know about his legal team. I have no idea. The Fannie Willis case, which people say, oh, that's the best thing that ever happened to him, only because she's self-destructive. Has nothing to do with him. I don't think it has anything to do with them fighting they haven't even gotten to the motions to dismiss. I mean, it withstood it yet, but the only reason that's looking great is because she's just imploding. I mean, imploding beyond anybody could ever imagine. It's not because of anything, but why do you think that is? Tell me. Why do you think this is? Tell me. What do you think is the story? Tell me. Tell me what you think. Where did this come from? Where do you think? Tell me. Do you think that maybe what? What do you think it is? Tell me. I'm curious. And I mean this. Because we've got to understand that we got some serious stuff here. And every time you have one of these things, I don't know what these were, these rallies, these CPAC and whatever, this this impervious delusion increases, and you've got to prevent this from. This is serious stuff happening here. So let me just tell you right off the bat, if you think for 1 minute, honestly, if you think that he is not, that there are not people spending their nights, staying up all night, wanting him to be incarcerated, and the first person who puts him in jail, the first person. Let me tell you something. So far, Tish James has scored the biggest victory up till now. And that's just a civil one. That's a civil case. But let me tell you something. She is writing. They are high-fiving her like you cannot believe. And don't think for a moment they haven't promised her maybe a judgeship, federal, maybe who knows. She is sitting pretty. She did it. She, along with Judge Engoron, and a statute that only exists in the state of New York. You understand something? This is not these. It hasn't been used. This is a statute that nobody can even believe existed beforehand. It did. We never even knew this, and I don't believe for a moment that Tish James knew anything about this. But somebody said, you might want to try this. It's just like there's a fellow named DeSantis who is in not related to Ron DeSantis, but he is in Fannie's office, who was an operative. Somebody placed it. Look at that group. Look at those jadrules, and ask yourself: do you think they knew anything? You think they knew anything about it? Do you think so? This is the part. This is the right. Jeff DeSantis. This is the thing that you got to understand. Now, what I want you to do is, many of you fine folks, many have never really been involved in any kind of politics before. Trump brought you to the dance, and I appreciate this, and I think it's wonderful, and I think it's great. He's done things that nobody can do. Nobody. He is, in terms of dynamic, I've never seen anything like it. Forget JFK. JFK was, the guy was born in what, 1917? I mean, come on. Look, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. His was the last, the Camelot, which was complete nonsense. But at least he was maybe where people were interested in this glamorous wife, and it was a different time. And it kind of floated around. Bill Clinton couldn't do it. Bill Clinton didn't get excitement, but he came across kind of like this portly, kind of a chubby dude who doesn't really, it's Bill Clinton, whatever, that's his thing. Okay, fine. And then later on, as things developed, there was Reagan. Reagan was something which just, I mean, they loved him, but still it wasn't really about him. I mean, it was, but it was about us. It was about the time. Trump changed everything. Trump changed everything. It was about him. It was about him. Do you hear what I'm telling you? It was about him. By the way, someone said JFK didn't have a hate club. Oh my God. Yes, he did. Remember, he was only there for 1,000 days, right? 61 to January 20th of 61. November 22nd, 63. Okay, so he was there. There was a group, a very, very, very serious group of the Miltiers and all these folks who were so pissed at him post World War. Well, the post OSS crowd. Why do you think he picked LBJ? They hated him because he needed the South. He was doing terribly. They couldn't stand this guy. Do not recreate history in your own mind. You know who was loathed and loved simultaneously in exclamation points? FDR. They loved him and hated him. Loved him and hated him. I don't think the Catholic president was as much of a big deal. I think it was interesting, but I don't think that was it. Remember at the time, he came along. JFK was an enigma. He was a conservative. He was a hawk. He was not, put it this way. He was not what Bobby Kennedy was perceived as. He was not as civil rights as you might think. He was not really. And if the truth be known, he didn't want to go into politics at all. That was his brother, Joe. He wanted to be kind of like his son, JFK Jr. He wanted to be kind of like he wasn't very serious about this, but he was the guy. And it fell to him. And if it wasn't for the fact that Sam Giancana and the mob gave him Chicago and stole votes, that's right, I'm an election denier, and had Richard Nixon not rolled over, see, history would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. Remember what Tolstoy said. We remember him after he died. And say people in New York remember Giuliani after 9/11. They don't remember before 9/11. They hated Giuliani. So always put things into perspective. Trump is a different story. The people who loved him, we never had a media star. Remember, there were some people. This guy, what was his name? Coke Stevenson. Is that his name? The governor of Texas. He had a daily radio show. Going back in history, I keep telling you, Lincoln they thought was blasphemous because he actually ran for office. You don't run for office. You don't run for office. That's beneath you. He had pictures. They took photographs. It's like, what are you doing? FDR, they thought, completely sullied the office by doing his fireside chats on radio. And the biggest guy who probably ever, pound for pound, ever lived was Father Coughlin, who received 80,000. You ever hear, Google how many pieces of, I'm not going to waste my time doing it. We always live in the present, and our history is using this Overton window, kind of this much. That's it. We only see things the way we remember. They didn't love JFK as much as people think. After he died, it was a different story. Oh, yes, you're right about that. You're right. Not when he was there. Bobby Kennedy was more responsible for his brother's murder than probably anybody. Absolutely. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. will never. The Kennedy's never going to talk like that. They took on the mob, and they didn't understand this. They didn't get it. They thought they were we're no. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Now we can talk about this if you like, and I think it's important. But please remember something. Most people, and listen to me carefully, most people don't give a hoot about Trump. I'm sorry. I know you're going to, what? Most people, Republicans, they tend to be a little bit more, I don't want to say involved, but they're not all MAGA folks. And, they're not, they certainly don't like Democrats. We only hang around. We always think that the world is reflected by people in our group. We think that people think the way we do. We think that We think that everybody is involved in the same things that we are, that people. No. I got to tell you, this one group, I have this group of, I know them, and they said, you want to go to Mar-a-Lago? We're going to Mar-a-Lago. We're going to Mar-a-Lago. Listen, it's very easy for me to say this, okay? Because nobody's asked me to Mar-a-Lago. But I don't want to go to Mar-a-Lago. First of all, I have this. You got to understand something. I hate being these, I don't know what you want to call them, these sycophantic little bootlickers who just, no. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I think Trump is a guy. You have no idea. There is nobody. He is the best politician I've ever seen. He does some stupid things, but his smart things are out of control. Nobody can come near him. And also, there's a contingent of people, you'll never know this, who secretly love him. Why? Because they love stars, and he's a star. Let me explain something to you, and let me see if you can explain this, and see if you can grasp this. And I'm sure you will. In the world of professional wrestling, which people have always said, are you talking about wrestling again? It's like, you don't understand how this thing works about professional wrestling. Professional wrestling is life. Professional wrestling is show business. Okay? It really is. Okay? Professional wrestling works like this. Everybody wanted to be the heel. The heel was the bad guy. The heel was the bad guy. This is the bad guy. Bad guys have the most fun. They have absolutely the most fun. And also, they were the most important to the promoter, to the booker, to the guy who ran the territory. That's the one who brought people in. Not the good guy. Not the baby face. No. And if you could get a kind of a heel that sort of was, well, that's a better. Trump was the heel. He was a guy who came in that was, it was a great in a tag team match. He came in, he was just this dangerous guy who came in at the last minute and just clean house. He could be on a dais, on a group during a debate and clean everybody's clock. He had stage presence. He did stuff he didn't even realize it. Why? In today's age. What about his policy? Nothing that great. I mean, they were okay. Nothing that great. Nothing that fantastic, but still interesting. But nothing. He's not a deep thinker. He's not able to plot 25 years in advance. Not at all. But he's good, but he's not great. But it doesn't matter. In today's day, nobody cares about this. Nobody cares about anything. Now, the thing is that we have, and you have, been privy to one of the most incredible things ever. The mainstream media are able, and have been able, to provide a level of, what do I say, distraction that you cannot believe. Let me give you an example. Last night, we had a very interesting, fascinating discussion regarding Aaron Bushnell. This is the U.S. airman who set himself afire, self-immolation in front of the Israeli embassy. And we looked at this, and I looked at it, and I saw it, and I asked people, what did you see? Tell me what you saw. And it was this: mentally ill, nut, I think for the most part, mentally ill, a lefty lunatic, sets himself on fire for Palestine, wasted time. Now, deranged traitor to his country, traitor to the uniform. That's here. I think for the most part, and I can understand that, of course. What do you think he was thought about around the rest of the world? What do you think? What do you think they thought? What do you think? What do you think the rest of the world thought? What do you think? More people saw him as almost heroic, who stood for something in Palestine. They could, because they have a different mindset, obviously, in certain parts of the world. They consider him to be absolutely one of their. Now, let me explain something to you. In I forget what it was. The year was the year before the Arab Spring. Bouazizi, the Tunisian merchant who set himself on fire, self-immolated because of the economy or whatever, was considered a martyr and heralded as triggering the Arab Spring. Heralded. This is Bouazizi, not a nut. The monk in 1960, whatever, Vietnam, who set himself on fire, self-immolation. Remember the first time I saw that word, it was a kid. I remember seeing this monk, and it was fascinating. I was like, why would he do that? Hero, heroic. Look at this. That's what changed. That's what changed everything. Nobody said, some nut set himself up. No. And there was a Quaker or something in some particular story. He did it. So then, and in certain parts of the country, that same act is considered to be heroic and, whatever it is. Today, here, it's, and I understand completely why people think, but that's the way people think, because a couple of reasons. Number one, do I think a person is mentally ill who commits suicide? Sometimes. This time, I don't know anything about him. He could have been hearing voices for all I know. But does that act in and of itself make him mentally ill? No. Mm-mm. You can do it. You can have your priorities a bit wrong. You might think this is something that, there are people who say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shave my head and change my pronouns. And, are you mentally ill? No. Your sense of judgment may be off. See, mentally ill is a different story. But look at how Americans think. Very cut and dry. And Americans can never abstract. There's no such thing as committing suicide. What? Hunger strikes? What's the difference between Bobby Sands, a hunger strike, and setting yourself on fire? With the idea of you're going to kill yourself. Now, granted, the hunger strike, you can end the hunger strike or his by giving in. I understand that. That's what you can do. I got it. There's no way around it. But in both cases, you have people who are martyrs. In Ireland, the strikers, the hunger marchers, Bobby Sands is a hero. They don't say he's mentally ill. In America, you would. Because in America, you don't die for something here. What are you talking about? Now, if you go, if you're in battle or something, if you're in war and you're killed, okay, then we'll celebrate you after the fact. That's different. We'll send you off if you die, if you whatever. Okay, fine. But still, okay, granted. I understand. I get it. I understand how this thing works. Believe me. But it's one of those things which is so interesting. Americans have this unique way of looking at things. We have this unique way of how do I say this? We have this unique way of perception. It's fantastic. It's truly something. Americans are the very, very interesting. Now, of the group of Americans, put them over here. Put the political Americans, different story. Now, the Republicans, I can speak to a certain Republicans. Let's call them the Fox News crowd. I'm going to say the Fox News crowd over here, Alex Jones crowd over here, because they're different. Completely different. Completely. Why? They're sort of on the same realm, but this one, and I call it, for lack of a better word, He's more international. He'll talk more about things like, Schwab and World Economic Forum and globalism. Not here. Stand by for a second, dear friends. We've been talking. I want you to catch your breath for a moment. Think about what I'm saying. Think about, because I realize that some of you are listening, most are not, but that's okay. It's a free country. But see if this can maybe perhaps give you a perspective that you need. Well, it is time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. Yes, I know, a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, please listen. What are we talking about here? Down comforters, flannel sheets, Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0 sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Literally name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. And they're monster sellers. Slippers, my slippers. That's right, slip-ons, moccasins. Think about it. What do they do at My Pillow? They make things real soft and plush and comfy. How perfect. Now here's the link. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, or mypillow.com /Solidus or Virgil /Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. And watch how fast Mike answers the phone. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, simply and absolutely the best. Now, a couple of things that we need to look at. This is interesting. We have the elections coming right now, and right now the elections are, as we know, 252 days until the election. 252 days. Now, let me ask you, my fine feathered friends, what do you think is the following? Do you believe, this is going to be interesting, that the Republicans and President Trump have nothing to worry about? That he's going to win this, that there's going to be no stealing of the elections, no nothing. How many of you really believe that? Anybody? Do you? Who believes we got this one? We got it done. They can't steal this one. Ain't gonna happen. How many believe that? It's funny, Lionel. I'm listening and reading. I did that through my college years. Listen to Led Zeppelin while reading organic chemistry. Got to be. It's funny you say that. I could always study with noise on. Absolutely. Sometimes dead silence bothered me. How many believe, by the way? We got it. How many believe it? Hot Pocket says it will be stolen. We're screwed. Get ready for BS. You know it's going to. How about Ronna McDaniel? And by the way, I'm not going to say that Trump was not worthy of it. Trump did ask. I'm not saying this. Tell me the way the Republicans work. Let me tell you the way the Republicans work. First of all, Republicans are full of shite. CPAC. CPAC is like C-crap or something. I don't know what it is. They're a bunch of phony baloney, bait and switchers, ham and eggers. Now, that should be a mob term or a boxing term, a ham and egger. They just Jack Probiotic, whatever his name is. He, the Jesus, and all that, completely just full of shit. And they get up and they make a fortune pulling people in like you can't believe, pulling people into, you know what I'm talking about. Things like, oh God, to come in and come on in and we're great, Jesus, and okay, fine. And also, by the way, if you go to CPAC, you've got the Ronald Reagan package for $30,000 where you can, and $25,000 will give you a breakfast, a box lunch, and an autographed picture of Everett Dirksen. You know, this weird thing. Like one time we went to the Republican. It was in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Never seen anything like it in my life. It was this convention. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But it was part of America, I guess. But they're into just this kind of stuff, and they're into like names, and it's the strangest thing. Now, Democrats don't have that. Democrats don't have that. They don't have that. They do not have that for reasons I don't know. They just don't. They don't have that. It's the damnedest thing. And I do not understand how this thing works. And I don't understand how anybody, honest to God, seriously, how they can fall for this. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. And they do this on a regular basis, which is the nuttiest thing that I've ever seen. And they do it. How do I say this? They do it because it's I'm telling you, it's that Mar-a-Lago crowd. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. They're like giddy, and Trump is like their boyfriend. I don't understand how it works. I don't know how it works. I don't know. Mrs. L and I can tell you this. Have you heard about if I said, hey, all you Dems, we got a party. We have a thing called DPAC, or like Deepak Chopra. We have this thing called DPAC, Democrats. You can show up, and it's it's great. It's you can meet Jake Tapper. What? Yeah, Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper. What the hell is that? You know. Yeah, that's great. Nobody'd show up. Hey, you want to meet? Oh, AOC? Paid $25,000 for the Nancy Pelosi packet? No, they don't do this. Republicans do this because they have this demented idea of this. I don't understand this. Why do you think that is? Couldn't figure it out. And the Democrats, for the most part, most Democrats, they have their core ideas. They really don't know. It's the weirdest thing. Do they care about? I don't know anybody here who cares about. It's the weirdest thing. People coming over the border, illegals. Nothing bothers them. I mean it. They just don't. They talk about things like climate or whatever it is. So I don't know. I don't know what their thing is, but they sit back. Because the people who run their party, the shadow government, they've got everything taken care of. And that's a reality. The reason why CNN is dying so much is that there is no need for Democrats to hear their nightly message without Donald Trump. If Trump's not involved in it, they don't care. Do you think anybody on CNN knows who Steny Hoyer is or cares about that? What? No. Where's the squad? Nowhere to be found. Where's Ilhan Omar? You notice how they shut her ass up, and Rashida Tlaib? All right, that's enough out of you. Michigan, right? Big Muslim population. Detroit, whatever. Minneapolis. Have you heard from them? No. You know why? They say that's enough. Shut up. They are controlled, very disciplined. You better think about that. And I guarantee you, the people who hate Donald Trump the most, believe it or not, are the folks of the Republican Party. So that's it, my friends. I don't want you to get too out of your mind over that, but that's exactly the way it is. And let me tell you something right now. Can Trump be incarcerated? You betcha. You betcha. Sorry. I know you don't want to hear this, but sorry. Okay? Sorry. It's the way it is. And I don't know how to tell you any other way. I wish I could give you some kind of good news, but I don't know how. There's a possibility he could. And how does that work? Well, they would have to forego it while he's in office. They'll figure something out. He's not going to be Eugene Debs, V. Debs in 20, whatever. He ran for office from prison. There's nothing in Article 2 that says you have to be not in prison. They're not going to allow an evil group of people to subvert the franchise by putting somebody in prison. So that's it, my friend. You happy? Hope so. I hope you're happy. It's not over. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. But please do not be deluded. Do not be one of these people that is just like, oh, we're great. Well, not really. I've seen this before. No, we're going to win. We're great. Uncle Joe. He's a fighter. I'll never forget that. I used to think to myself, what is he fighting? What is Uncle Joe fighting? Joe's not fighting anything. Joe's just hoping to God this thing isn't that lethal. Listen, I'm a realist. I'm sorry. I know this bothers people, and I know people really, really get upset with this, but I'm a realist, and I am not going to be lured into this idiocy by being part of the Mar-a-Lago group who sits around and says, aren't we great? Aren't we terrific? Well, not really. In any event, my friends, watch this interview I did yesterday with Diane Diamond. Remember Diane Diamond? She was on, oh my God, everything. We worked together during the OJ case years ago. If you saw the end of the Wendy Williams documentary, it is the saddest thing. If you want to see the decline, she probably has either Wernicke's encephalopathy, Korsakoff syndrome. She has she could have wet brain. I don't know, but she is gone. And she has been kidnapped. And that family of hers are going to suck her dry. Watch this interview I did with Diane regarding there's the link right there. Regarding guardianships, it's brutal. And also, one of the best interviews Mrs. L did. I want you to watch this. This is so terrific, so great. There is a woman she met named she knows Wambui Bahati. This is, if ever you want to see two, first of all, incredible women speaking to each other about a subject that is so, it's actually, you will be amazed, as the kids say, regarding the tenor and the severity, and yet the elegance and the beauty of the subject. Watch this one right now and follow her at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. All right, dear friend, you have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. Don't forget also, I hate to tell you this, but I didn't mention it today, but I'll do it for the sake of it. You do know that they have right now, when it comes to our good friends at My Patriot Supply, this 4-week emergency, this $60 deal. This is a 4-week emergency. This is an absolute, I don't know what the word is. This is an absolute steal. A steal. This is almost like an entry level. Go right now to our good friends right here at preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. I put that link up for you right there. It is a steal. That's all I'm going to say right now. Okay? All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Now remember, don't be depressed, be realistic. Don't set yourself up. Don't create history. Don't imagine things that never occurred. Make sure you know what you're talking about, and you'll be just fine. All right, have a great day. See you tonight, 7 p.m. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.